What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the Lob It Up podcast with your host. I'm Tobias. We got Chris, Panette, and of course, Siavash. Siavash, I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name. I feel like I'm always going to butcher it. But how you guys doing?
It's Gorbani.
Gorbani. I like that. See, I probably would have said
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually, you know what?
That's
Now
stab
that I
in the
look at
dark.
now that I look at it, like phonetically,
dude, I'm proud
that
of
makes
you.
sense. That makes sense.
Hey, okay, I'm sick.
This guy's feeling good. This
I'm
guy's
feeling
feeling good.
nice now.
Yeah.
Starting a Monday off fresh. How you guys doing?
Not too bad. It'd be better, if there's a little less snow. But life is good. I woke up. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I got new brakes on my car, so I'm good.
Yeah, you had a bit of an issue with your car today, did you not?
My car? No, I didn't have an
Yeah.
issue with my car. It was just an issue with paying for it. It was something with their weird new debit machine or something that's like.
This guy's making some scam purchases
Guess it-
online, low-key.
Yeah, which credit card did you
I
use?
don't know. No, I just used like my debit card, and then I went to the bank after because they had me all sketched out. And the bank's like, "Nah, like we don't have any notes of anything being flagged." And I was like,
That's weird.
"Okay." So, but yeah.
That's weird.
No.
Siavash, how about you? How you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm ready. I'm excited
Ready to talk some
start
ball.
this. Yeah, we were
sir.
talking about this before. I wish we were in the studio together.
Mm-hmm.
I hope we could have been in the same room, but the situation with COVID and everything, we were just separate. And
For sure.
a lot of studios are open to do this anyways, but we're here.
For sure.
And, a lot of great.
Eventually, though, man, speak it to an existence, right? Eventually, we'll be in a studio. We'll have our own little show, and the Lob It Up podcast will be nationally broadcast.
Okay.
We'll get there. We'll
Yeah,
get there.
yeah.
I'm excited for
Yeah.
that.
So obviously, it's kind of middle of the season right now. What day are we looking at? February 21st? February 22nd. So the All-Star picks have been announced. But before we get into the All-Star picks, I want to get your guys' thoughts on the upcoming awards. So obviously, there's usually 6 awards that are handed out. MVP, Rookie of the Year, Sixth Man, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved, and Coach of the Year. So how about we start from the back? Pause. And we take on Coach of the Year. I don't mind getting it rolling here. I know we've had these conversations before. I think there's a couple of people that are top of the list. Most notably, former Clippers coach, repping LAC over here, Doc Rivers, now over in Philly. But my pick for Coach of the Year, just looking at the standings, looking at the quality of team that they've produced throughout the whole season so far, is Quinn Snyder for the Utah Jazz.
I got to give credit to Tobe for this. Last time we spoke, he threw that out there when they were like the 4th seed, I think. And I was
Yeah.
like, man, that's a great pick because I've been watching Quinn Snyder do his thing for years. And he was under Greg Popovich before. And to watch him basically recreate that system and for them to be called the Spurs 2.0, that's amazing.
That's what they're calling it, eh?
That's the new name for them. Before the first
Jeez.
few games of the season, they called them the 2015 Hawks with Mike
Jeez.
Budenholzer.
True.
But now they're the Spurs 2.0. But
I
I
would
can give you
take
credit for that.
I would
man.
take offense to that if you're calling me the Hawks, the 2015 Hawks, because they, as nice as they were dominant, they got a couple conference wins. They never amounted to anything. Those blue unis never came of anything. Paul Millsap and Jeff Teague just couldn't get over the hump.
They were a great regular season team, but yeah, they didn't make
Yeah.
it far. I agree with you, man. I think Quinn Snyder is going to be a great pick. They've been doing amazing. They're the best. They're the best team in the league right now, and I think I'm going to go with him. But also, I think Doc Rivers should get a nod right now.
Now, while we are on Coach of the Year and while you are speaking, Siavash, I figured maybe give you the floor to talk about the Chicago Bulls' new head coach, Billy Donovan. How do you find that he's doing so far this year over in Chi-Town?
I'm just glad we have a coach.
Yeah,
That's what I'm happy, bro. We're the 9th seed right now. We're a few games. Again, the seeding is really close right now. Every team is almost a few games apart, but I'm just happy we have a coach. Last year, that egghead was basically playing the team.
this guy.
I forgot his name. I just call him the egghead at this point.
No, it's true. It's true. C's been calling him an egghead for as long as I've known C talking about the Bulls.
See,
Bro,
Chris,
Steve
you
Nash
have a
attacks people's shapes of their heads. He attacks that guy, Jim Boylan, I think is his name,
yeah.
Egghead, and you also come at Nick Batum. You're like this potato head or something like that. Like you call him a French idiot. I don't know. Like you're always coming at people's heads. Like I think
It's
you
not
got
a
like a
head
vendetta.
pause. It's not a head thing. It's just that Batum. I don't want to talk about Batum right now, but yeah, I'm glad Jim Boylan's out. And Chris, I mean, you've had a great coach in Nick Nurse for the past few years. I would hope you would be happy for me to get a good coach too, finally.
Yeah, I guess they always say you want to see your friends winning, so I guess
I appreciate you.
celebrate the small things. Yeah.
So what about yourself, Chris? Do you have maybe a dark horse on the Coach of the Year picks, or what's your thoughts? Do you think Nick Nurse can grab another one? Where are you going with this?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe if pull some fucking miracles out of the little magical hat. But all in all, Nick Nurse, great coach. I honestly thought you were going to be going with Doc Rivers for Coach of the Year and stuff. And after kind of seeing the list of potential candidates, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I could give a little nod to Doc Rivers and seeing how far he's taken Philly.
Yeah, Doc could definitely do some damage right now as we're recording this. Philly sits atop the Eastern standings. I did want to give credits to the Raptors because when we had first started, getting into doing the podcast, the Raptors really weren't off to a great start in the season.
Yeah.
They've clawed their way back, and they're sitting at a 5 spot in the East, which I think is more respectable. I think going into the season, that's where I envisioned the Raptors to be. I didn't see them as a top 4 team in the East. However, I have talked to people on Clubhouse, and they honestly think that the Raptors will bump one of those elite teams out of the top 4 and become a 3 seed. Now, those elite teams I think of in the East are Philly, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and Boston. I think Boston is more likely to be pushed out. They're currently sitting at 6. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm gonna say yeah. The Celtics haven't been playing well. I think with what's happening with Kemba, it's becoming a little scary for that team. Everybody's right now talking about if they should panic. Everybody's talking about if Danny Ainge should make any moves. And I think the Celtics are definitely the most vulnerable out of those 4 teams you named, more specifically because of the rotation right now and what's been happening to them.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to catch too many Celtic games. So give me the Sparks notes right now of the Celtics issues.
Well, the Celtics came out pretty hot. Jaylen Brown, you'll see my pick later. He's definitely a mention there, but he came out better than Tatum. Tatum was still performing, but not as to where he should be. As C mentioned, the injuries with Kemba Walker had him out. Is he currently sitting out, or is he back right now?
I think he's back.
Okay, yeah. So it's still there's a weird dynamic going on there, and I think the biggest thing that's always bothered the Celtics, especially when you look at the bigs in the East, is they've never had a bona fide center. Right now, you look at their center rotation. I think it's Tristan Thompson and Daniel Tice. They do have a $28.5 million trade exception that they can go out and use to get a center. Most notably, I think of a guy in Andre Drummond. So that's a potential to happen. But that's my belief that is their biggest issue, battling against a guy like Joel Embiid or Giannis Antetokounmpo, even someone like Domantas Sabonis, and then Miles Turner also being there. It's just kind of an issue for them, and that's what I see at least. What about you, C?
I think the bigs are definitely their biggest issue, but at the same time, when I bring up Kemba, that's another issue that they're having. Kemba, with his injuries, he's not the same player. He used to rely on the burst he had, and then he would do the quick step backs, and he would create that separation to get a bucket. But now he's not able to do that, and I think that's probably the biggest issue at this time. They need a better point guard, but the bigs is also an issue. And you brought up Drummond. I think last time we spoke, you said that would be a good trade. If that happens, man, I think that's going to be amazing for them.
Scary.
That would be interesting. But maybe they could get Boogie. He just went on the free agent
Boogie's
market.
recently available. Do you think he'd go there? I think the expectations around DeMarcus Cousins need to be lowered. He's not that same guy that we saw in Sacktown or even in New Orleans. I think he's more kind of fit for the role that he had in the Lakers organization. and potentially he goes back there. What are your thoughts on maybe the quality that DeMarcus Cousins has left in the tank?
I definitely think there's potential there. Because yeah, he may not be DeMarcus Cousins of old, but at one point he was the best center in the league. And yeah, you have those injuries that have set him back, and he's needed to change his play style. But he was also never one of those bigs like a Shaq that was constantly bodying people down, who's super physical. So I still think he would make like a great addition to wherever he decides to land up, and they could easily work him into their rotation. He still got a hot hand like behind the arc. And, he's a decent facilitator too. So.
Okay, so let's move on to the most improved player of the year. Steve Ash, I'll let you kick this one off. There's been a lot of candidates, I think, that have come out this year, so we'll see. I don't know what you guys are laughing at.
I'll just let's see.
Yeah, what do you think? Who do you think is going to get that nod this year?
We're laughing because I think you guys all know that my pick is clear. I'm going with Zach Levine right now.
Oh, yeah, God.
I don't know another name that should get this nod right now, man. That's my guy. He just went from scoring 24 to 29. He's been scoring 30-point games left and right. He's a lock for All-Star at this point. And he wasn't even looked at as an All-Star last season. That's my guy. I'm going with Zach Levine.
For those that are listening and for those that are watching, we're always going to try to check our biases. But Steve Ash bleeds red. He is a Chicago Bulls fan. This guy loves Kobe White. He has once been quoted as saying Kobe White is better than Kobe Bryant. So
I never said that. That's cap. Bro, that is. Jeez. I would never say that, but I did say once I said Ja Morant could lose the Rookie of the Year race to Kobe White at the start of the season last season. And I have to apologize for that because Ja Morant came out and he did great. But Kobe White's still my guy. I'm gonna always rock with my team. But yeah, I have Zach Levine going for Most Improved Player of the Year.
Okay, that's not too bad. For me, it's kind of a toss-up. Just looking at this, Tobes. It's probably actually I feel like it'll be a pick that Tobes has too. But I could either see Jaylen Brown coming up to win that, or a little dark horse pick for me would be in Chris Boucher for the Raptors.
Okay.
Yeah, because Chris Boucher has been playing phenomenal this year. He's scoring more. He's moving the ball better. He's making better decisions on the court. So just all in all, it's just been a great help to the Raptors, and who are currently lacking a true big, right? Once they lost Gasol and Ibaka and shit like that, so it's been a little rough for them inside the paint. But I think Boucher's been helping a little bit with picking up that slack, and then Jaylen Brown, you're saying, it goes without saying, he started off the year great, better than Tatum. He's still doing the great things he was doing last year, so I don't think it's a stretch to say he's just gonna get better as the season goes on.
So I'm actually not gonna choose a Clippers player for this. I'm gonna stay away from Clippers.
You're not going with Pat Bev?
What's that? Yeah, Pat Bev's my guy, bro. I love Pat Bev, dude. Man, that guy's been doing work. When Kawhi and PG are out, he's been putting it in. He's getting on the defensive end as per usual, and he's been scoring from three, which is nice to see. But I do agree, Jaylen Brown. Probably the Celtics' most complete player on both ends of the court. However, for my two picks, I'm going to look at Christian Wood. Obviously played in Detroit last year and is now in Houston. Taking a big step. But my one that I really think is going to win, their team's not doing so hot right now. However, they seem to win against the best teams and lose against teams that they are level with, is Jeremy Grant, man. That guy is going off. He's playing on the Pistons, so former team that Christian Wood had played on. But Jeremy Grant is their number one guy. Obviously played for Denver last year and had a nice little bubble, playoff action. But I love Jeremy Grant. I like seeing what he's doing there in Detroit, and that's my pick for most improved player of the year. What are your thoughts on that, Sivash? I don't know if you're giving me a weird eye, whether it's like that's a terrible pick or if
No, I
that's
like
like
it. I
I
like
think
it.
it's just his lazy eye. Lazy eyes.
it's the glass
Don't
eye.
come,
On and off
don't
the
come
court,
at
you
my
know.
insecurities, man. I'm gonna go home and cry.
It's just see, you know, when he's playing on the court there, it's like he never sees me wide open to get that bucket. He's like, I gotta take this. I gotta drive. I gotta put up a brick, and then I gotta work twice as hard, you know. So it is what it is.
But yeah, I think Jeremy Grant's.
Just dismisses it. Just dismisses it.
No, Jeremy Grant, I like it. Yeah, Jeremy Grant. Christian Wood, I don't know if he's gonna win, but Jeremy Grant does have the
Yeah.
case because he went from I think scoring less than 20 points a game to now scoring, I think near 30. So yeah, I think he's a great pick.
Because Christian Wood's still on the sidelines right now. I think he's injured. When I first did make that pick, he was doing fine, but I think you know, we all have good picks here. I think Chris Boucher is interesting, but I definitely think the three that come to mind would be Zach Levine, Jaylen Brown, and Jeremy Grant for sure. Okay, so let's jump over to sixth man of the year. What are the requirements, Sivash? I know you know a bit more about that. Is there a certain amount of games or a certain amount of minutes that need to be played when it comes to sixth man of the year? Because I just think of last year, you know, Dennis Schroeder was playing for OKC, right?
Yes.
He's playing for OKC. He was starting for some games. Same with Trez over in LAC, but he was also on the bench. So what's the requirement to win a sixth man of the year?
I believe it's the number of games that you come off the bench. So
Okay,
a few
okay,
years
so-
ago, Lou Williams won it, and he was averaging I think 27 minutes a game.
Okay.
But he started, I think, half of that season. He came off the bench. Yeah. So I think
So
that's
it's less the
requirement.
amount. It's less the amount of minutes that you've accumulated, but more the amount of games that you started coming off the pine. Okay, Chris, do you want to lead us off with your pick for sixth man of the year?
Sixth man of the year.
Do you want me to pass?
No. I have one. I have
Okay.
one. Again, it's just bouncing back to Boucher.
Really?
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think right now he's still a contender because I think like what was he averaging? Because I was looking at it like minutes. I
Yeah,
think
he's doing
like
good
20.
for Toronto. He's got to put on some weight though.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's got to put on a bit of size. So I think he's like minutes right now. He's 23, averaging like 23 minutes a game. But I think he's starting less, so he still qualifies for that sixth man of the year like award. But again, looking at the list, looking at some of the other names that like are in there, he is probably sitting at about like third, maybe fourth on that list. So again, still got a bit of time in the season to go. So we'll see if some players drop, positions shuffle, and maybe potentially we see another Raptor getting
There you go.
sixth man of the year.
Well, similar to you with the Raptors, and you have a bit of a Raptor influence on your picks. I have a heavy Utah Jazz influence on my picks. Before I would have said Dennis Schroeder. However, with the recent injury with Anthony Davis, I don't know how they're going to implement Schroeder in. I would assume that they would put him in to start more games. However, they might make him lead the bench unit. But my sixth man of the year is Jordan Clarkson, a former Laker.
Yeah.
He's been going off. He's been doing really well over in Utah, being kind of another option off the bench for the Connollys and the Donovan Mitchells. I really don't see a way that he doesn't get a nod at least. But that's my pick for the most or the sixth man of the year for sure.
Yeah, I was definitely eyeing up Clarkson pause, but I was like that'd be too easy of a pick, you know. C is gonna say, he's probably taking the easy way out, so you know that's why I end up going Boucher there.
Okay, see. So what do you have for your sixth man of the year pick?
I think it's between Jordan Clarkson and Dennis Schroeder, two guys you mentioned. And as you said, Anthony Davis is out right now, and the way they're going to play Dennis Schroeder is going to be the decider. But Jordan Clarkson is a good pick. I'm probably going to go with Dennis Schroeder because of his role in the team right now. And we will see how they're going to bring him off the bench, how much of the scoring off the bench is going to rely on him. So,
Now, what are your thoughts about one of the guys over in New Orleans that are running the point, whether that be Bledsoe or Lonzo Ball? Lonzo Ball hasn't been starting most of the games. He has been coming off the bench, but he's been doing work. They were playing against Phoenix the other day, and I do know that Chris Paul and Lonzo kind of have not a rivalry, but like that respect where Lonzo looked up to Chris Paul, obviously being the point god. Do you think that there's a chance that maybe Lonzo could get a little bit of a look for a sixth man of the year?
I think if he comes off the bench enough times, and if his stats are looking good, yeah, for sure, why not, right? I mean, last year we saw Schroeder win it, and they were the fifth seed, so I think that will matter to some extent. And Lou Williams winning it a few years ago when they were the seventh or the eighth seed, the Clippers. So yeah, I think the record is going to be the biggest decider next to stats.
Yeah, the Pelicans aren't sitting that well right now. They are sitting at 11th, but that is a tough Western Conference. It'll be interesting to see for sure. Okay, Defensive Player of the Year. Who did we start with last time? Chris, I can start this time. We'll go on another circle around. Again, I got that Utah influence throughout my whole picks. Looking at the Utah Jazz right now, sitting at 24-6, top of the West, the top of a tough Western team. You think of two players, obviously, within the Utah Jazz organization, and that's Donovan Mitchell as well as Rudy Gobert, multi-time Defensive Player of the Year. That guy, you're hardly getting anything past him when you drive to the paint. COVID did beat him, coronavirus did beat him, but you can't stop him. So that's my pick for Defensive Player of the Year. I would have said AD before. However, again, I don't think with the injury he has a chance. Giannis will be another interesting pick. But yeah, I'm going to ride with Gobert. I'm going to put the French boy up there.
French.
But
yeah, initially too, had AD riding up there for Defensive Player of the Year. But yeah, like you said, with that injury, and I don't think it's going to be likely. So yeah, I had Giannis coming in up there for me, just as a replacement pick, just because, just Giannis's presence again, like in the paint. He's so, again, super long that it's like that he's just taking up all that space. He's quick on his feet, quick on the chase down block. You're talking about a man that can cover half the court in 3 strides.
True.
So, he's always there. Yes, there's just been some people that are been doubting Giannis and things like that. And didn't he win? He won MVP last year, right?
Mm-hmm. MVP and Defensive Player
back to back.
Yeah. So it would almost be like disrespectful not to include this man like in this conversation. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Steve Ash, what's your pick, man?
As you guys mentioned, we talked about this last time, and we all had, I think, picked AD at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now that he's injured, I hate that I have to make this decision, but I have to go with Gobert. I really don't like Gobert as a player, but defensively...
yeah, I think you have something against French people. You don't like Batum, you don't like Rudy Gobert. I would be surprised if Jim Boylan doesn't have like some French ancestors or something.
Yeah, his grandpa's French. No, Gobert is just, I would hate to have him on my team. Because offensively, he's not a threat outside the paint. And defensively, he's great. You can't take that away from him. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. And this season, he's the anchor to that team being so good on defense. So I hate to make that call, but I think he's got to win it. And you bring up Giannis, and I think Giannis is amazing. But right now, that team is on top of the league. And you don't see too many defensive players on that team. You got Joe Ingles, you got Bojan, you got Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley. All these guys are great. And at some point, you would say above average defensive players, but that guy is the reason they're winning so well.
Mike Conley was on that Atlanta Hawks team, was he not? No, he was on. Who was he with before?
Grit and Grind, Memphis Grizzlies.
Memphis, that's right. Yeah, with Zach
Tony
Randolph
Allen,
and Marcus Gasol. Yeah, true.
That was a fun team, man.
Yeah, so one guy that none of us mentioned, the one award that LeBron James is missing from his trophy mantle is the Defensive Player of the Year. Michael Jordan has one, just saying. But now that AD is out, I really think that LeBron has continued to elevate and continue to step up. Do you think there is a way that LeBron James can win a Defensive Player of the Year award this year?
He has to go crazy. He has to. At this point, he has to be the reason they're winning, and it has to be like 3 blocks, 3 steals a game averages.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought about that, and I was just wondering because, again, that is something that he's always coveted, especially whenever he was in Miami, that he wasn't able to get. Again, what LeBron has done in his career, if he misses the Defensive Player of the Year award, I'm sure he's not sulking about it, but it would still be nice something. It would still be a nice thing to add to his trophy mantle. Okay, so moving on to the next award of the year, Rookie of the Year. I think a lot of us are going to pick the same person.
Let's say it at once.
Yeah,
what's that?
Let's say it at
count
once.
of 3. Well, I'll just say it.
Yeah.
All right. Alrighty. 1,
Somebody do the
2,
count.
3.
LaMelo Ball.
LaMelo Ball. Yeah,
Okay, there you
100%.
go.
100%.
I wasn't gonna say Tyrese
I-
Halliburton, but I was like,
Yeah, I was gonna put like Kobe White or something, to be honest with you.
I thought about that.
But LaMelo Ball, man, I'm a big high school basketball guy. I love watching the young guns come up. I've been watching Mikey Williams for probably 2 or 3 years. Bronny's obviously in there as well. And LaMelo Ball, with the Ball family in general, with Zoe, Jello, and LaMelo, they've been in the media for some time. Man, I've been watching this kid for probably 3 or 4 years, and he's so good. My one issue with him early on when they were playing in Chino Hills was just he's pulling up, pointing, very cocky, and just shooting from the logo. And I was like, okay, you've got a great shot, but what else can you do? He sprouted a couple inches. Right now he's standing at 6'7", so taller than his brother Alonzo. He played overseas, played against grown adults. I think it gave him an opportunity to mature. I think any team, so the 2 teams that drafted before him, made a huge decision, or made a huge mistake not drafting him. LaMelo Ball is going to be the best player in that draft class, even though Anthony Edwards likes to yam it on the Toronto Raptors.
That was a murder.
LaMelo Ball is by far and away the best player in that draft. The guy rebounds. He has flashy assists. He can score, obviously. He's great on the defensive end because he can steal. This man is the reason that I put $2 down to win for the Charlotte Hornets to win the division, and he's helping me.
I mean, if you're that confident, turn that $2 into $20.
Exactly right. But LaMelo Ball, it's an easy pick. I think I agree with all of our decisions to have him up there as Rookie of the Year.
I think some of the names we should mention is Tyrese Halliburton, Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman. I think he's injured right now, but he was doing really well, and Emmanuel Quickly out of New York.
Yes, yeah, I know you're high on Emmanuel Quickly. He's doing some work over in the Madison Square Garden for sure.
Yeah.
James Wiseman strictly based on positional as well. Obviously, the Golden State Warriors have been lacking. Similar to the Celtics, they've had every position but the center. James Wiseman is the perfect piece for a championship Golden State Warriors team. It's unfortunate he's injured right now, but he will be back for the playoffs and then obviously moving forward within their franchise. So, moving on to the Most Valuable Player of the Year award. Who do we got, boys? Who are we looking at? Chris, you want to start us off?
Kobe White.
My guy. I knew it.
No, honestly, again, I think it's an easy pick, and you'd be ridiculous, not to kind of have this pick, but the GOAT, James, come on, bro.
I think I don't know, man. I don't think you're getting. There's a couple other people in the pool that I don't think you're giving enough credit. Well, I'll speak on it, but LeBron James is a good pick. Don't get me wrong for what he's doing this year at this age. But let's get away from the storyline. Let's look at Joel Embiid dominating the Eastern Conference, taking his team to the first seed over in the East, getting a Philadelphia 76ers team kind of to follow him and follow his lead. Just absolute dominance in the paint. Another pick that I like is a guy that does not get enough credit. This guy has been snubbed year after year, especially when it comes to the All-Star games and especially when it comes to the All-Star voting. Damien Lillard, bro, if he can get a top 3 seed in the West, you gotta give this dude his flowers, man. He is so good, and he's doing it without CJ McCollum. Like, that's another thing people don't remember. This guy is the best point guard in the league, hands down, best point guard in the league.
I think you just skipped over one name that I thought you were gonna say something about.
What?
Nikola Jokic. Did you just suck your teeth for Nikola Jokic?
I don't know.
The guy's putting out great numbers.
Listen, I got similar to you and the French folks. I don't like Nikola Jokic. He did some damage to me and my Clippers in the playoffs.
Like
this boy with his milk bag body. He's a plumber. He's not even in the NBA. Like, go on a treadmill or something.
And he coached your team. No. See, that's the thing. Like, Joel Embiid, I was gonna come in here and say Joel Embiid was my pick. I love to see LeBron win, but I think Joel Embiid is the best player in the league right now. But he just cooked my team. He just put 50 on the Bulls a few nights ago. And that hurts, but I got to give the guy credit.
If Jokic is so good, maybe he should get a better seed than the 7th seed right now. They're ass, bro. They're ass.
But you know how the seeding is working right now. They're going to be up there still. I think they're going to end up in the top 4.
Yeah, eh?
Okay.
Chris, you're still going with LeBron over Jokic and Embiid?
I still am. I'm willing to put some paper down on that.
Oh,
if
okay.
you want to make it a little interesting to buy it.
I do have a bet. I do have a bet on Bet365 that Braun. I have a bet that both Joel and Braun are going to win MVP. So
well, then take
I don't no, because I want to make my money, but I
don't
don't disagree.
You have no faith in your pick.
I don't disagree, but I think it's blasphemy that you think that there's only one choice.
No, I mean it's not blasphemy.
I quote, did he not say, and I think you're stupid to not have this pick?
Yeah.
Or to pick anyone else.
I'm just saying.
That's blasphemy, bro. I'm getting on my Stephen A shit. I'm getting on my Stephen A shit. That is blasphemy, bro. That is blasphemy.
This is what I'm saying. He did say that. But I think he meant it in the way that we just said, how do you not have Embiid in there? So I think he's saying that's his pick and that's a sure guy. At the same time, I agree. I think Embiid and Jokic should be in there. I don't know about Dame Lillard, but I think those 3 names.
This guy doesn't get his credit. This guy does not get his credit. If he gets a top 3 seed, he's sitting at 5 right now. If he gets a top 3 seed in the West, like, I don't think he's going to get a top 3 seed because you look at the 3-headed monster right now, the 2 LA teams and the Utah Jazz. But if he's able to will his way to a home like position in the playoffs by himself, I don't even know when CJ's coming back. But bro, this guy's doing work. Doesn't get an all-star starter nod. Never gets his flowers. People still like listen, bro. Steph Curry's a great player. He's not the best point guard in the league. It's Damien Lillard.
No, come on, bro. I was just gonna ask you.
Yeah,
I think Steph's playing better than him.
Steph's a great shooter. Steph's one of the best shooters we've ever seen. But I'm telling you, Damien Lillard just does something different, dude.
What is that something?
What is Steph doing right now? Like he's doing things, but he's not affecting the rest of the team. Because how is it that the Trailblazers are sitting at 5 and the Warriors are sitting at 8?
I would say the team
they have similar positions right now. Sure. Like they don't have their 2 guard, right? And CJ and Clay.
I agree.
They don't have their centers in Nurkic or Wiseman, right?
Yeah.
They have Draymond and Carmelo. Let's kind of put those guys on the same plate. I just mean in terms of position and in terms of impact on the team, right?
Yeah.
So what are they like? They have Kelly Oubre. He's not great, but they have Andrew Wiggins. But who's Damian Lillard's secondary option? Enes Kanter? Come on, bro.
Disrespect the Turkish
Come
god.
on, bro. Like,
no, I agree with you, man. But my thing is, I think Steph, you're disregarding how much Steph is affecting that team. If you watch the Warriors, even in the past 5 years, the way they put the offense around Steph, it leaves everybody else open. And I think
we're not talking about the past 5 years, so
Lillard.
that's the problem. Yes, in the past 5 years, Steph was a better point guard. I'm talking right now. Damian Lillard is a better point guard.
I mean,
I think they're right there.
So you're saying he's best point guard in the league now?
Right now, yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not gonna disagree.
And that's taking out the Bronze or the Lucas. Like I'm talking like your positional.
Yeah, like a traditional point guard.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah,
Okay.
that's just my pick. Anyways, so those are the awards. I think we've got a lot of similarities. I think we have a few differences. You know, Chris is riding with his boy Chris Boucher. Maybe it's the name. I don't know. I'm riding with a lot of the Utah Jazz, and you know, Steve Ash is still rattled with Jim Boylan, but he's got Zach Levine winning Most Improved.
Don't say his name again.
He's off limits, eh?
Let's get to the All-Star picks, man. I'm excited for this.
For sure. So the All-Star starters were just announced. And in the West, we have Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, and, of course, the Claw, Kawhi Leonard.
Before we move
And
on.
over in... Sorry?
Before we move on, we have to
Yep.
say that Dame Lillard got snubbed.
Yes, 100%.
Luka should not be in there, and Luka said it himself.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
And it's not... That's the thing. It's not that Steph should be out. It's that Luka should be out and Damien Lillard should be in. 100% I agree.
Okay.
Moving to the East, we got Kyrie, Bradley Beal. Obviously, that guy's doing work in Washington. Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid. So the only teammates we have in the starters amongst the whole, both Eastern and Western, is obviously the two boys out in Brooklyn, Kyrie and Kevin Durant. What do you guys think, besides the Luka and Damian Lillard snub? What do you think? What do you think of those starters? What do you think of those selections so far?
I mean, I'd say it's pretty standard, man. Like, from the East and the West, yeah, like, those are basically all, like, top guys, man. And, like, you're guys that you're going to want to have, like, the ball in their hands, like, on their respective teams and stuff like that. So, yeah, like, I don't really disagree other than, yeah, the Luka and Damian thing. But
For sure. Do you have any objections, Steve Ash?
No, I agree. When we spoke about this last time, we gave our picks before the actual announcement came out. I think on each conference there was only one player that was different from our picks. On the East, I think Bradley Beal got in, which at the time when we talked about this, James Harden we thought was going to get that pick, but Bradley Beal deservingly so. And in the West, I think I had picked AD over Jokic. But Jokic not, and you know, AD's injured. But I'm just happy that Giannis is not gonna be the one picking on the East because I'm tired of Giannis picking Chris Middleton, and I'm happy that
they're the dynamic duo, Batman and Robin.
dude, I'm excited to see KD and LeBron do it because they're friends too. So that's gonna be a really
sure.
nice back and forth.
Because I didn't see Chris Middleton, just for shits and gigs, and I knew it would piss you off, I put Chris Middleton on my list.
Well, so that branches it into the next thing. Like, you know, we kind of ran through our own off the mic picks of who we have at the reserves. So I was able to come up with about 8 or 9 of them. But I think maybe let's start in the East. Let's go around the table and let's just kind of talk about our picks that we have for the reserves. Does anyone want to start first?
I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna make a prediction that I'm gonna
Okay.
say 2 names, at least 2.
Okay.
I have a few more that I think might be a lot for you guys, but I'm gonna say 2 names on the East. Let's start with the East first.
Okay.
Okay.
2 names that I think should be a lot for everybody right now. Zach Levine
Okay.
and Jason Tatum.
White. Oh.
And Jason
Tatum. Yeah.
Okay.
I have more names that I think should be a lock, but I don't know what you guys' list is. You guys let me know if that's in your list right now.
I have Zach personally, yes.
I do have Tatum, and I put Zach Levine down there just because I knew it would make you happy. And I do think he deserves it. He's been playing well. You know, it's a weird year because I don't really know what they're doing. I don't even know if they've announced. Actually, I think they said that they're going to do it before the All-Star game, the slam dunk and the three-point competition. But I know that Zach Levine said a couple years ago that he wouldn't do the slam dunk competition unless he was in as an All-Star. He's not just coming to do the dunk contest anymore. So I hope he gets elected to do it again this year. But yeah, I have Zach Levine. All right, so run through your picks. So you got Tatum and you got Levine in the East. Who else you got?
I have James Harden, Jaylen Brown, Ben Simmons, and the last 2 spots I'm undecided between 4 names: Trae Young, Julius Randle, Sabonis, and Bam. And I'm gonna make a decision. Audible. I'm gonna go with Sabonis and Bam.
Okay.
So my final list
okay.
is Zach Levine, James Harden, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Ben Simmons, Sabonis, and Bam.
Okay.
Okay.
In no specific order, I do have some of those similar ones that you had mentioned, even those reserves of the reserves with Bam and Julius Randle and Trae Young and
Sabonis.
who's the last guy? Sabonis.
Yeah.
I don't have Trae Young. That's the only person I didn't have on my list, just because of ranking in the standings.
That's fair.
But in no specific order, I have about 9 people here. I'll just read them off. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, 2 dynamic guys out in Boston. James Harden, obviously. Jeremy Grant, big fan of him right now. So I know they're doing terrible in the conferences, and I just said about Trae Young, but I think the importance of what they give to their team, he's the only guy, whereas Atlanta, they have a couple other guys there. Bam, Julius Randle, I do think he's doing work in New York. I think you should get some credit. Sabonis, Levine, and Ben Simmons. So I've got 9 there.
Nice. Yeah. Solid list. Yeah, I got a couple of repeat offenders here on my list too as well.
Criminals.
God, fucking criminals. Yeah, got again in no order. Got Ben Simmons, Zach Levine. I had Kobe White just as like a little troll, but scratch that name off the list real quick. It just felt wrong. It just felt dirty writing it, Bam, Harden, Jason Tatum. Again, little troll, Chris Middleton, just for you there.
But he deserves it, though.
Yeah.
I can see your case for it. No, I'm serious. I can see your case for
it. Yeah. And then I got a couple like little ones, obviously got to show my Raptors some love. I got OG in there.
What?
I got OG. I picked OG. And then I got, it was like a little toss-up between Kyle and Fred, but you know what? I want to see Fred. I want to see Fred in the All-Star game. Okay. Fred's been playing nice. Fred's come up so much. He's developed so well as like a player overall. And, I think he deserves it, man.
I like the Fred pick.
Yeah.
I think that's a good
Look at
pick.
this guy.
I don't know about OG.
This guy said OG.
I know, bro. I don't want to say anything, but damn.
Hey, just see.
That's like me saying Wendell Carter Jr. should make it.
Yeah. Laurie Markkinen.
Yeah.
Just wait. Just you wait, okay?
All right, so like you said, we got some similarities in there. There's some that I don't even think are going to get a look. But okay, Seabass, you want to break down the West? You got some locks that you think are going to be on our list here?
I got 5 locks, and I'm gonna read 4.
You better have my guy, 2 of my guys here.
No.
Okay, then I'm gonna read 5 of them because I think both of you guys are gonna be in this. So I got Dame. I got Paul George, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and CP3, Chris Paul.
Those are locks?
Those are my locks. The other ones I'm looking at, I'm kind of undecided, but those are my locks. And I think, to be fair, I think those should be everybody's locks. Those 5. Mm-hmm. The other 2 we can talk about. But let's talk about those 5 first. Do you guys have those in your list right now?
Yeah, I have all 5 of those. I think CP3 was another one that's in my list for locks. PG, obviously, that dynamic duo in the Clipperland. Damien Lillard, I just went on about him. He is similar to what James Harden is in the East. He's the number 1 pick, hands down. Donovan Mitchell doing work, just putting it in on the West side. Rudy Gobert, obviously, his partner in crime. But yeah, I think those are secured for sure.
Okay.
Chris, how about you?
Okay. Am I agreeing with your 5?
Do you have those 5 in your list?
I've got a couple on there. I do have PG. I do have Dame. And then I think from there, I don't think anybody else.
See, I knew this guy wouldn't give credit to CP3, bro. I knew you wouldn't give love to CP3.
No, I like.
Chris, do you not like him?
I like Chris Paul. Okay. Chris Paul's a fantastic player. But I don't know, man. I'm just man.
Low key, Panette in high school.
I just think there are more exciting players to watch now.
Low key, Panette in high school asked for the number 3 and then would walk around the halls and be like, "I'm the real CP3, bro. Get the fuck out."
Actually, though, the number in grade school that I did ask for always was 4. I always wanted Bosch. I always wanted Bosch's number.
I think he was trying to do the MJ Kobe thing. He was like, "Oh, Kobe was 24, MJ was 23. I'll be CP4. That guy's CP3."
I'm one level above. I'm one
I'll bet it.
level
Like, you know
above.
how MJ's number in the USA team was 9? I'll be 10.
No,
I was
to be
13.
honest,
Steve Nash, rap.
I was 13 too, but that's because I was born on
13 because you're
day.
the unlucky guy on the team. Like, oh fuck, Tobias has
Both of us too, but I'll
Shit.
take it.
Tobias was the hardwood
Bro, I had the floppy hair going around. It was mint.
mint guy. I'd have to
Okay.
brush his hair out the way before he shot the ball.
Yeah. All right. So, what else you got on there, Steve? You got your 5 blocks. What else you got?
I'll let Chris finish actually. I want to hear his
You
list.
finish.
Okay.
You finish.
I got 6 guys on the last 2 spots that I'm still undecided.
Okay.
6
Jeez,
guys.
dang, bro.
Yeah, bro. I think
Holy.
they all deserve it, but it's just tough.
This guy
right?
asked me to write a list, not an essay.
I
came
wrote an
out
essay. I didn't ask you to write
prepared.
one.
I'm the kid right now that showed up to the first day of school asking to borrow a pen and a piece of paper.
Yeah, that guy sucks, bro. Bro, did you not do any back to school shopping in August? Like, what are you doing?
Apparently not.
You know the look the person gives you the first day of school when you ask for a pencil? They're like,
It's like,
Yeah.
bro, you come with the light up shoes, but you don't even have a pencil. Like, what the
Yeah,
hell
I
are
came
you
with a
doing?
backpack, but it's
Chris was a cool guy. He was ready, like he was dressed nice, but he didn't have nothing ready for school.
Yeah.
Nah,
got
that was not a cool guy. Not a cool guy. I got roasted actually in high school because for my first year of high school, I thought it was cool to have a single strap backpack. But it's just like this one.
No, guy. No.
Bro. Like it was a Nike bag, so I was like, oh, it's a Nike bag, it's sick. And I was like, oh, the single strap ain't bad. First of all, wreaked fucking havoc on my back, bro. Like my back was tired and shit. And then
Were you stuff in the back or were you on the side?
it was on
Like,
the
did
back.
you carry it like this?
I carried it over, yeah. Carried it on the back, yeah.
That's
Bro.
even worse, bro.
Terrible, bro. But anyway,
I was the old 2 with just the one over. I just
classic.
rocked the one.
I did the strap, the one
I get it.
strap, like in middle school, and I did it in first year of high school as well. And then
Bro,
I just went
what's
through.
wrong with you guys?
Bro, that was a thing in Middle East, like in middle school. Like all my friends had the one strap, like the bag, like a
Just
It's a
satchel.
little satchel.
Just satchel wearers.
That shit
It's
was
lit.
it was lit back then, but it stopped being a thing. It's like 21 Jump Street where they go back to school and they're all wearing the one strap and everybody's 2 strap, and Jonah Hill just freaks out and just like puts on 2 strap. He's like,
yeah.
All I know is Indiana Jones had a satchel, and
Yeah, so does Joy Behar.
okay.
all right, let's get to these picks, man.
finish.
I'm gonna say these 6 names that I think I'm gonna pick 2 at the end. Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, DeMar DeRozan, Devin Booker, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Mike Conley. I'm gonna pick Zion and Devin Booker to be in the All-Star game for my last 2 picks. But I think all those names can't make it deserving. So
I had 3 of those guys.
Same.
I had Bi, Brandon Ingram. I think should be there. I had Zion as well, and I had D Book. My extra one that I have that I'm kind of debating between because I'm like, I don't know if I'm just holding on to what I saw in the bubble. I don't know if he's still performing at the same level because you see flashes of 50 points. But Jamal Murray, I'm back and forth, and maybe it's that Canadian influence as well. But yeah, he's kind of that buffer pick for me right now.
Okay.
yeah, I like Jamal Murray, man. I think if he plays at this level, he's a very great player. It's just that it's been inconsistent. But I still think he's a guy that you want on your team to go into the playoffs. The way
Bro,
he
I swear to
performed-
God, in the bubble, watching him play against the
Oh,
Clippers, every fucking floater he tossed up. Bro, how have you not figured out how to stop his floater by now? Like, every fucking possession, him and Jokic would come down, and it's either going to Jokic, and Jokic is backing in, and then hooking it around, or Jamal Murray's coming in to the free throw line and just floats it. Like, just stop it. Stop it. Pick a different shot. Get a different shot.
Hey man, if it works. But yeah, no. Speaking of Jamal, didn't he get that? Like, I didn't even know this was like a stat, but like scoring 50 points without going to the foul line or going to the strike.
That's
zone.
impressive.
Yeah, like 50 points. That's a lot to accumulate.
Yeah.
So,
And that boy can
like
shoot, too.
Once.
Yeah, he can shoot.
That's insane.
And it's not like he's just like a range like player. Like, he does slash, so just impressive that he never got fouled or no one ever decided to foul him. But I think they were playing against Cleveland that game as well. Like, you got Colin Sexton on him. I'm kind of surprised that they wouldn't have fouled him at some point. But, hey. I'm also surprised that he dropped 50 on Colin Sexton because Colin Sexton's a pretty good
I got to watch
player.
that replay because if Colin Sexton's guarding him the whole time, that's an impressive 50-point game. But if, like, I mean,
if they're
someone
switching
else
off
was
in
guarding
Darius
him,
Garland,
that's, Colin Sexton is a great defender and he's up and coming. And he's somebody that I would have probably had in my East All-Stars if he was playing a tad bit better or if his team was playing better and they were in a high seed.
for sure. For sure. He's another guy that could have gotten a nod for Most Improved Player of the Year as well.
That's facts.
Colin Sexton. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. But yeah, pretty much all of CFS's guys and the reserves are basically my whole list, essentially. So I basically just did this list just off of like who would be like entertaining to watch because the All-Star game, it's not like it matters. It's not like it's, you know, the MLB where it's like whoever wins, like I'm pretty sure don't they get the home field advantage in the World Series, right?
Yeah.
This doesn't matter. You're just for fun, and it's like, oh yeah, we give to whoever's charity. At the end of it, you're probably both still giving to charity. You're both still doing it. So it's just who I think it's like, oh, this is gonna be a fun game to watch. So for my list, obviously, you know, we had Dame, PG, had Ingram on there, had Zion, and then, you know, had to throw in Ja in there too as well. Just want my boys see. Favorite player. We had D-Book and then DeMar. So
See, I'm surprised you guys both have DeMar. Like, I understand he's doing well in San Antonio, and it's so weird they have him listed as a 4, like he's playing the power forward. I always thought he was traditional, like a 3. He wasn't good enough to shoot to be a 2 guard, but yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I'm just saying it's surprising
it's
for sure.
odd,
Yeah.
you know.
Because you're not used to seeing that name anymore be mentioned among all-stars, but I can't deny that he's been he's been doing pretty well for San Antonio, and San Antonio's sitting at a 6th spot right now. So
Yeah.
I just mentioned his name next to the other guys like Shy and Mike Conley, as well as Brandon Ingram. Those are just guys I thought their names should be mentioned. Same thing, I mean, with Mike Conley. They're in the first seed, and everybody is kind of talking about if he should make it next to Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. And that's, again, another question you got to ask yourself. Like, same thing with the 2015 Hawks. They had 4 guys that made the All-Star that year. Are you willing to have that many role players or players that are not playing at that high level make the All-Star game right now? With the Utah Jazz, with Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and Mike Conley. Well, are you willing to throw that 3rd guy in there and take another spot from someone else?
yeah. Okay, so those are the all-star picks. Unless we have anything else, I will get into my 5 sports betting picks for the week.
Something I wanted to mention about our picks is Paul George. We haven't really talked about him as much.
Okay.
I know it's the regular season,
Yeah.
and I know this is the thing now. That
This is
Paul
where he
George,
shines.
Here we go.
Shines bright.
I'm not, again, like this is, now it's become a thing that you cannot give him his credit because it's the regular season. Because every time you hear somebody talk about him, it's like, okay, wait and see what he does in the playoffs. But I just want to say he's not getting talked about enough for playing the well he's playing.
Yeah, and I think something that people kind of take for granted, I don't know if for granted is the right word, but they kind of dismiss. Yes, he's had a history of not performing the greatest in the playoffs. However, we have to remember that a season before last season, so his last season in OKC, he was top 5 in MVP voting. When you're playing in the playoffs and you're isolated and you're in a bubble, yes, these players are multimillionaires, and you would think that they have everything that they could ever desire. Like Paul George has come out and noticeably said he was depressed, he was not in a good mental state when he was in the bubble, and that messes you up, bro. When you're trying to play basketball and trying to perform at a peak level, and then of course you're gonna have your keyboard warriors that are going at you and whatever, but that'll take a toll on you. So I'm just really happy to see him kind of elevate and go to the potential that I know he has. Again, I just hope it's consistent throughout the playoffs. I think they are one of the most dynamic teams in the NBA because they can not only both of those two guys, Kawhi and PG, put up 30 points each, but they'll also defend on the back end as well. They can shut your best players down. So they have the length, they have the size. I think they're two of the best players, two of the best wing defenders in the league. They can do damage. It's just that consistency from the whole team. Without going on too much, I think Ty Lue is a huge piece in this team. I think he'll make a big impact when it comes to the playoffs.
Okay.
How different is Ty Lue for you from Doc Rivers, though? I think, personally, from what I'm watching, I think it's just a chemistry piece.
I think so. So shout out to Clubhouse. I learned a lot of stuff on Clubhouse, but there's a lot of like NBA insiders and analysts there, and they talk about the differences between Doc Rivers and Ty Lue. And Doc Rivers is very much a fundamental kind of coach. He lets you go out there, and he has a game plan at the start of the game, and that's what you run with at like through the whole game. Ty Lue is a very dynamic coach. He's making changes. If he sees something that's not working, he's not afraid to make changes. I think of Nick Nurse in a similar sense. Nick Nurse is not afraid to change up the lineup and to put maybe someone in like a OG in at center if he needs to. Ty Lue is the same. It's also a respect thing. They didn't respect Doc Rivers. Obviously, there was drama maybe between PG and Doc Rivers because of some family off-court things. But like, I think it helped with Ty Lue being an assistant coach last year because you're not the bad guy. You see how things work. You see how things don't work. That's why I'm glad they didn't bring in a different coach. They brought someone up. One of my favorite moments when I think of Ty Lue is not AI stepping over him, is actually in the playoffs when the Cavs won against the Golden State Warriors. You'll remember that Ty Lue was the coach, and LeBron James is LeBron James, man. Whether you have him as number one or whether you have him as number two, he's one of the top two greatest players of all time. And it's easy to be dismissive when it comes to LeBron James and let LeBron James go and say and do whatever he wants because it's LeBron James. One time LeBron was saying some shit and trying to stand up and trying to say like, no, like this is how we're going to do it. And Tyler's like, no, sit your ass down. I'm the coach. You're going to listen to me, and that's how we're going to run the play. Well, they won the series, and they beat arguably one of the greatest teams ever assembled, a 73-9 team in Golden State Warriors. So I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll have to see when it comes to the playoffs. I just think Ty Lue is going to be a big piece to that. I think chemistry will be a big piece. A lot of them say that Lou Williams, that him leaving to go to the, to go get those chicken wings at the strip club, really put a kind of a bit of a dent on that chemistry because it was like, okay, so what is this to you? Like, we're trying to win a championship and you're out here getting wings. I know there's some heat between Trez and Kawhi and PG. I don't know. Like, it'll be interesting. I'm excited for the playoffs, but I think Ty Lue's a big piece when it comes to that.
Okay.
I like what they're doing, though. I like how they're playing right now. And honestly, as someone that wants to see the Lakers in the finals, I'm kind of worried about them.
Well, especially now too, with AD being out, and it's not an injury that's going to keep him out of the playoffs, but it's a similar injury, and they're comparing it to Kevin Durant. It's another Achilles injury, and he's got a calf problem. So that's exactly what Kevin Durant had, and AD's a big boy. AD hasn't really been known to be someone that goes into the paint that much, but that's going to defer him away. Whereas KD doesn't have to go in the paint. It'll be interesting. I think, I would never wish any bad will on any player, on any athlete. So hopefully he comes back healthy and he can still perform because AD is a great, great player. But it will be interesting to see how the Lakers combat the Clippers, especially when it comes to the defensive end in the playoffs. If, what happens last year was supposed to happen this year when it comes to the Clippers versus the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals.
I know we're going to get to your games of the week, but I think this was something I wanted to bring up in the end of the year awards conversation. You guys want to give your finals picks? one team from each side you guys think is going to make it?
Yeah. I really want to see Boston. I don't know why. I just have this weird like love for the Boston Celtics. However, I don't think that they're going to do. I think a trade for a center, as we've spoken about, is going to give them a big push for sure. However, I think you're. I don't want to pull Chris, but I think you're silly to not have the Brooklyn Nets be top of mind. Yes, they are not the greatest defensive team. They recently made an acquisition with Andre Roberson to get him in there, a great defensive player, not a great offensive player, but he doesn't have to be. They're another team that'll be interesting if they can get a center. But yeah, I would say the Nets over in the East. Man, I gotta say the Clippers because it's my team. However, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not the Lakers that scare me. It's the Utah Jazz. Yeah, I actually they kind of freak me out a little because it is Rudy Gobert, as we talked about. He's so dominant. They don't like the Clippers don't really have a great center, a physical center like that. They have the two great wing players. Their offense isn't as consistent, I don't think, as the Clippers, but they have a guy in Donovan Mitchell that can go off for 50 points. He's hungry. They have a guy in Mike Conley. They have a guy in Bogdanovich. They have a lot of players that can actually do work, but they're the ones that scare me. But I'm just gonna rock Nets Clippers final.
Chris, how about you?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say probably Nets and the other LA team, the Lakers.
Thought you were going with me, man.
No, sadly. But I think you'd be silly not to consider Brooklyn. Like you said, like as shitty as their defense can be at times, you'd be silly not to see them going to the finals with the squad that they have right now. Right? You saw like the things that James Harden is doing without KD and like Kyrie, so yeah, that's it. Shoe in.
Yeah, each team can, or each player, each of those big three, Kyrie, James Harden, and KD, they can each drop 30 on you in
Easily.
one night.
So, easily. They probably
James Harden is now a walking double-double.
Yeah,
easily.
They could all drop 50 if they really wanted to on you. Like,
yeah.
So.
Yeah, I got the Nets going as well. I was gonna say Philly at the start, but watching the way the Nets played against Clippers last night, you have to go with the Nets at this point. And out on the West, I'm still gonna go with the Lakers. Yeah, I want to go with the Nuggets.
The
Still
Nuggets.
don't know how they're gonna play. Yeah, I mean, you saw them in the bubble last year, right?
Okay, so you had the Lakers and the Nets.
Yeah. I also want to say Philly, but it's going to be interesting to see them go up against the Nets and how they're going to stop those three guys. That's the key piece, but at the same time, I think Embiid's going to be interesting. But for now, it's the Nets.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the trade deadline I think is middle of March, so a lot of interesting things can happen. I think this is a very, very important year for the trade deadline. I think a lot of teams can really swing the balance of power with one trade this year. Most notably, the Celtics. I think the Nets, they're obviously the favorite in the East, but I think they become a dominant team. I would say the Clippers, if they could get a guy in Kyle Lowry, that would be really interesting for them. But it'll be interesting. I can't wait for a trade deadline, and I can't wait for the playoffs. So looking at the week ahead, I've got about 5 picks here. So obviously we're recording this on a Monday. It comes out on Tuesday. I have picks Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I tried to go with some picks that are almost guaranteed and some that are a little bit risky. You put some money on them, and you should make a good little payout. So Tuesday, the Portland Trail Blazers are playing against the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets currently have a couple of injuries. I'm going to rock with the Portland Trail Blazers in that game. Wednesday, the Utah Jazz are playing against the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm going to ride with the Utah Jazz. AD is out. I think Gobert's just going to eat the paint. Friday, Golden State Warriors are playing against the Charlotte Hornets. As much as I love the Charlotte Hornets and I've made a lot of money off them this year, they just recently played. Steph Curry was out that game because he was feeling a little ill. If Steph Curry is in that game, I'm taking the Golden State Warriors. Charlotte just squeezed by. Saturday, we got the New Orleans Pelicans versus the San Antonio Spurs. I think Zion is going to dominate in the paint against a DeMar DeRozan playing at the 4. I'm rocking with the Pelicans. And on Sunday, we had the marquee game, the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Milwaukee Bucks, and I got my boys, the Los Angeles Clippers. I think PG and Kawhi are back. There's no stopping them now, so I'm excited. I'm excited to have them both back, and yeah, those are my 5 picks. So the odds obviously aren't out yet. They come out each day, but keep those in mind for sure.
Who do you think is going to be the underdog in the Clippers Milwaukee game?
Probably Milwaukee.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah. Looking at just the way that they're seated, the way they're looking at the Clippers, probably they're weak with PG and Kawhi being back, and Milwaukee just not being a top echelon team right now. I think the Clippers are going to be the favorites, and then the Milwaukee Bucks be the dogs.
I like
Yeah,
it.
man.
We got no Bulls game in there, and I'm kind of upset about
I
it.
saw the Bulls. See, the Bulls are
He's trying to win money,
get
see
a little
that.
scared. Yeah.
What do you
I get a
mean
little
win money?
scared with
We
the
just
Trying
won
to
against
make
the-
a profit.
The Bulls
didn't have
are
to
one of
say
those
that.
risky teams, bro. Like, I like betting on the Detroit Pistons, but they are a risky team to bet on. Like, these, you never know with them. Even with the Nuggets as well, they're kind of hard to bet against.
I like
But
it.
yeah, the Bulls are similar. Okay, so next week I have a segment I want to bring to you guys. So, Chris, I will give you maybe a bit of an insight so you can do maybe just a bit of research here. But Steve Ash, you're swimming. You're swimming without a life jacket. I want to do a Hall of Fame or not little segment. So I have a few players that are in the league that are maybe almost retired, a few players that have been retired. And I want to get your takes on, are these guys going to be in the Hall of Fame? And maybe even I'll look at some players that are already in the Hall of Fame and get your opinions on that. So stay tuned for that. That should be exciting. And yeah, I think there's some players that have been out of the league for a couple of years that still haven't gotten their credit. Most notably, a guy like Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups. Where do they sit for you guys? But yeah. That'll be next week.
Another name we mentioned today is probably going to be part of that list. Chris Bosh.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
True.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. This was the first episode of the Lob It Up podcast with your hosts, Tobias, Chris, and Siavash. Thanks for watching. New episode every Tuesday. And take it easy. I don't know what I was going to say at the end there. I was going to say peace, but
Peace.
That's a good ending.